Hey guys, it's Sam Roberts. And you know, Sam Roberts now has been controlling loneliness across the internet for a long time. But starting now, you can be lonely longer. It's great news. Sam Roberts now goes live at 6 p.m. Eastern over at youtube.com/notsam. Join us earlier to get a lonelier start on the evening. Of course, every episode of Sam Roberts Now goes up at youtube.com/notsam. You can hit the channel anytime you want to watch the shows. But if you want to join us live, if you want to be there with me and with Hot Dog and watching videos and breaking things down and people embarrassing themselves, mainly us, it's the internet's loneliest talk show. youtube.com/notsam. Sam Roberts Now, 6 p.m. Eastern. Happy Lonely Wednesday. You heard the cartoon, thanks to Blob More Chairs, by the way. It is the internet's loneliest talk show in the whole wide world. Sam Roberts Now, here on a very lonely Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're doing good. I know what you're already asking. Sam, we went through a lonely Wednesday. We went through a lonely Friday, and it seemed extra lonely, and it did. That's because Hot Dog wasn't here, but Hot Dog's back. There he is. Hot Dog is back.
I love it when you miss me, Sam.
I didn't say it. I said I know that there must be some people out there.
Well,
and technically, I've always said that loneliness is a positive quality to have. If anything, we're trying to take the word back. So the idea that it was actually lonelier without you here would mean that was. I mean, it's kind of what we were striving for.
So you're kind of starting the show with bad news.
Well, you could have taken it however you wanted, but you decided to, grab the glory for yourself, and I can't let you have that.
You could have let me have that.
If you just sat there quietly and just said, like, I'll take it as a compliment and not say anything, then you could have held on to it, I think. That's the lesson.
I feel good. I feel rejuvenated.
Look,
Happy New Year.
There's no way that there is not a celebration. I think people have been waiting for you to come back, and I think that they're all very, very excited. They couldn't believe. I mean, I don't know how I did the show without you, Hot Dog. Somehow I managed 2 full shows. And one of them, by the way, Friday's show, hour 40, all on the Scream franchise.
On Scream, yeah.
Scream.
Yeah?
You missed that. I hope you watched every minute, because it's very, very educational. And we will be dipping back into the Scream topic today. I promise you. Okay. That. Yes. And don't forget, by the way, the rules of Sam Roberts. Now, of course, if you have anything in the chat, I already see that some of our friends are here rocking COVID on Sam Roberts Now in the chat. If you've got something that you feel like needs to be addressed on the show, all super chats are addressed. I promise you that. So super chat in, and you'll be able to be a part of the show. We will, by the way.
Make sure you hit the like, you dirty bastards.
I can't believe there haven't been more likes already. Yes! Make sure you hit that like. I already see love coming in for you, Hot Dog, so don't you worry. Don't you worry. You'll get that ego stroked. You'll get that Hot Dog ego stroked.
Middle management Hot Dog for you.
You love being middle management, don't you? One day,
I love it.
Your dream is to be a creative executive, isn't it?
I don't want to go that far. I'm good at just staying right there in middle management. It's where I belong.
You like that, huh? You like the idea of, like, look, I don't have the responsibilities of the boss, so when the board comes in, like, you like the idea of having to float in between bosses. Like, when a new regime comes in, you have to strip your loyalty of the previous one and start sucking up to the new one. Andy Bernard, that's who you are. You want to be Andy Bernard. You're not a Dwight. Dwight is a soldier. You're Andy Bernard in the sense that you're loyal to the title.
Yeah, I mean, if the old boss is gone, the past is the past and the future is here. I mean, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. Well, that's good, and it's good to know that one day when when Not Sam, I accidentally sell Not Sam to somebody else, and they throw me out like they did Steve Jobs at Apple. You'll just sidekick with whoever they throw behind the desk. Hey, future is the future.
Do you want me to acknowledge the old boss, or are we not supposed to talk?
We're not doing that? No, oh shit. Okay, no problem. No problem. Well, let me tell you something. There is a problem with some old shit. Have you been up to date over the last few years at this point with the birds are not real movement? Have you heard about this?
The fake conspiracy, like it's supposed to be a parody. I know a little bit of it.
Okay, well, I took it seriously. I was like, okay, I was looking at what this content that they put out. Here's a little taste of it. This is kind of one of the early, more viral moments. Basically, this kid, he starts going to protest with big signs that say birds aren't real. Then he goes and creates a whole movement around it. There's a website that comes up with a backstory and everything. He moves to either Memphis or Nashville, somewhere in Tennessee, one of the big Tennessee cities, and gets a whole billboard that just says birds aren't real. And he basically says that at some point in like the 1960s or 70s, the United States government created an operation where they murdered all of the birds. the birds existed at one point, obviously. Like this isn't nonsense. That the United States government murdered all of the birds and then replaced all those birds with drones. And what we see in the sky are surveillance birds, drones. You know what I mean? Like they're watching it. And I
That's
thought
really advanced technology for the 1960s.
Well, they weren't as good then, I don't think. You know, and I think now they're probably much, much better. Because you're right. I mean, it was probably very rudimentary in the 1960s. Maybe just motion detectors. Like they probably weren't full video. Certainly not HD at that point. But
1959 BB before birds.
But who knows? Who knows? By the way, don't forget, we never got, even when we marched on Area 51, even when we all went to Roswell because we followed that Facebook group, we never got into Area 51. So we don't know what kind of technology they've had in there, right?
Yeah, that's true. We got there. We went to the gates.
We got to the gates, but and then they were like, you can't come past here. And then it was like, is it cool if we party here? And they were like, yeah, do your thing. We're like, all right, that's a compromise. That's fair.
And then the government was like, phew.
Yeah, and then we were like, woo, we came to party anyway. But yeah, so we don't know. Maybe in Area 51, they have some kind of advanced surveillance technology that the aliens were using for their planets and their birds. We don't know. But after the billboard went up and everything a couple of years ago, this kid who started the thing went on local news. And this is just a classic clip. This is not new. But just in case you haven't seen this clip before, it's one of the greatest.
We are joined by one of the messengers of the movement. Peter McIndoe is here to tell us how.
Which is just, here's why this is so great. And this is the context that I want you guys to watch this in. Like, internet, this is literally the crossroad here. We are getting to the intersection, let's say, of the way media is consumed. We've got an entire movement that was started by kids on the internet being explained on a local morning news show. That nobody watches both those things. Nobody's aware of both of those things. Nobody that gets their news from the local morning news is also absorbing all of their sort of meta content from the internet. And nobody getting all that meta content from the internet has even ever seen a local morning news show.
The Venn diagram goes like this.
Yeah. It's two circles. It's basically, the Venn diagram. It's like the Earth and the moon. It's just two big spheres that might or might not exist next to each other, possibly flat. We don't know. But that's a whole different thing. We don't know, I'm saying. I've never been up there. Maybe William Shatner could shed some light. He's been up there, but I'm not a scientist. I trust the science, but I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But this is how it went on the morning news show that he did.
We are joined by one of the messengers of the movement. Peter McIndoe is here to tell us how this all came about. We want to emphasize you were not the founder.
No, ma'am.
So how did you become aware of it? What is the message of the movement?
The message of the movement is essentially to spread awareness that from 1959 through 2001, the government mercilessly genocided over 12 billion birds and simultaneously replaced...
I didn't know genocide could be an entire species. He said that the government genocided all these birds. And I mean, it is something that we should have light put upon if it's true, and I'm not a scientist. I'm assuming this kid is. Obviously he hasn't shaved in this clip, but if you're out there exposing the birds and the controversy and the conspiracy that's around it, I could see not having time to shave.
Replace them with surveillance drones in disguise that film us every day as equally as these cameras are filming us right now.
So what do you have to back that up?
To back that up, I have as much evidence as the birds have provided. There's so much.
So this is really satire. I mean, you don't really believe that happened, correct? This is a satirical campaign to make the point that what?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
You're looking at me like, no, it's not satire. I really do believe this.
Honestly, it's kind of offensive.
Okay. So it's not satire.
I don't think you would say that if I said birds are real. I don't know why.
How did they think this was going to go? Did they think that, like, we just have a pleasant conversation, that he'll just, he'll just go like, oh yeah, it's just a fun bit I'm doing. What did they think was going to happen? What's the best case scenario of this segment? I mean, the poor old lady who hosts the news looks even more like an old lady. Like, if I were that lady's mom, I'd be like, Mom, don't do it. Just don't do the segment. They're going to make fun of you on the internet. Don't do it. She's going to go.
We're not going to come out of this looking.
No, because she's sitting there asking him, this is satire, right? And he's like, absolutely not. And then she gets like, oh, well, come on. Like, they didn't. Now you're
flustered up.
Because now she's realizing, like, oh, I'm the punchline. Like, I'm not in on the joke. It's like a couple of grown-ups talking to this kid, and they think they're going to talk down to him. But when the kid doesn't skip a beat, now they're the punchline instead of in on the joke, and it's just not the way they play it. So that kind of sparked a lot of interest everywhere. And this has been going on for years. I mean, this was only a couple months ago.
Listen, whether you believe what I'm about to say right now is really completely up to you, but I know this to be 100% factual, and I have the proof to back it up. You will not hear about this in the mainstream media, but in the 40 years between 1959 and 2001, the United States government murdered every bird in existence using poisonous toxins dropped from airplanes. Now, while they did this, they replaced all the dead birds with surveillance drones.
I mean, what's amazing is that he has sat here, and as TikTok has taken over Twitter and YouTube and everything, he's maintaining the same message and just going on to new platforms. Apparently, he was in college when he started this thing, and it just caught such a wave that he dropped out of college strictly to pursue the birds aren't real movement, and was selling enough merch. Like, there were enough birds aren't real t-shirts being sold that he was able to live. Like, that's how he kept his lifestyle. He was just doing shit on the internet and selling t-shirts. And I'm like, yeah, good for you. Way to go. And it does make sense, Hot Dog. I don't know if you get it there. I know you live in an apartment building without the big windows, but maybe in the office building that you work, you might have witnessed it. I know that I have in my house, that these birds will fly into your window and accidentally kill themselves. And I for years, I've thought, why would a bird do that? Like, you catch the glare. The birds have eyes. That's confirmed. Birds have always had eyes. So why?
Too.
And you would think maybe one or two birds would kill themselves by mistake on a window, but eventually they would tell their friends about it, and they would see the windows, and they would stop killing themselves in windows. But they never stopped. And then I saw this kid's message. And I go, oh, this makes a lot of sense. It's because they're not birds. They're malfunctioning.
Think the battery's expiring?
I don't think it's the battery. I think they were getting in too close. They wanted to surveil what was going on inside, and they don't have judgment. I don't think they have artificial intelligence, at least to that level. They're programmed to do a certain thing. But I think that they just don't have the judgment required to say, don't keep flying because you'll break your fake bird neck if you go into that window. That was my thought.
I mean, I only vaguely know the surface of the birds aren't real movement, but it's been a lot of years of research. So I don't think I can catch up in one day, but
so far it checks out.
Sure. My biggest question is: are these birds, are these drones manned by themselves, or are they? Is there an individual person manning all of these birds?
No, I mean, I think it would be like you like the show Breaking Bad, right?
Love it.
Remember that guy whose daughter Walter helped die, who works in the flight command center, and he's watching all the planes as they go. And it's not like every single plane has a one person in the control room watching it, but there's a control room full of people that look at screens and they monitor it. That's the way I would think. Like that there is maybe it's even a Russian troll farm. I don't know. But like something like that, where they look, they're like one person would look at several screens. And then that multiplied by however many, 50 people in this room, would probably cover most of the birds. And frankly, I think once you send the birds out, it's more about data collection than it would be steering the birds. You know, I don't think that there's so many birds that you would cast that wide enough net that you don't really have to worry about steering specific birds as much as it is pulling the data off of them once maybe every day or every night or whatever.
Oh, I mean, you've done your research on it. This is pretty great.
What's that? Logic. It's common sense.
Oh,
common sense.
Is it?
A lot of it I would just like, well, yeah, that checks out. Until hot dog, this is gonna bother you. I seen this kid do an interview for Vice a couple days ago. This is why I'm bringing it up, because some of you are probably like, this has been around forever. It has been around forever. But I seen this interview with Vice. Listen to what he says. I thought he was just going to let us know a little more about the birds and how fake they are. No, hot dog.
Like all this meaning behind it.
This is Connor, who wrote the history on the website.
What?
One of my best friends. That's the thing about birds, is it really is like basically a family operation. So that's my sister, Emily. We built this set in 24 hours in Little Rock.
Since the Eisenhower administration, the U.S. government has been committing genocide on the entire bird population.
And it ended up helping me write all the history and build out kind of this whole...
Hot dog, it was the whole thing was false. He made it up.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
World.
I can't believe it.
Small team.
I made the Vietnam War
with these guys.
Indistinguishable from a real bird. Now we see these birds every day, and they see us.
He made it with his friends. I was misled the whole time. I couldn't believe it. And I know that I wasn't the only one, because hot dog, I looked at the comments on this YouTube video. First of all, I was not thrilled with the whole thing, because even if I didn't believe it, you know, if there's one thing in this world I can't stand, it's kayfabe being broken. I can't.
I was about to say that. You got to keep going, man. You got to dig deeper.
Like, what's your problem? But I was looking at the comments, and a lot of people in the comments were relieved because they didn't realize that. They were like, okay, you can't tell sometimes. I was like,
you got that far.
I was like, no, that's true. Sometimes there's no way of knowing sometimes, because he doesn't announce that he's joking. So unless, like, he doesn't have a mallet that says, I'm only kidding, that he can smash you in the face with. So since he doesn't have that mallet, it might not be 100% clear. You know what I mean? And then you, like me, you end up getting confused by the whole thing.
Or you know, like some people who are in on the gag at first, like maybe you down the line, maybe a year or two later, you kind of work yourself into a shoot.
So you think that you start as a joke, but you're like, I may become a jabroni Mark who works himself into a shoot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you gotta cut that thing out before it gets a little bit too crazy. I mean, how preposterous is this whole theory compared to the Earth is flat theory?
Well, I mean, I'm starting to question everything. Like, if the birds are indeed real, what if the Earth is not flat? Like, can you imagine? It might not be.
Let's take it a step at a time. Let's take it easy now. We don't want to deconstruct your whole reality here.
I mean, it's almost like he was mocking other theories by putting this out.
Theories that haven't been disproven.
That's true. There have not. I haven't seen Vice videos with the people behind the other theories Can you imagine if Alex Jones ever did an interview? He's like, so I created this conspiracy character guy, and it just kept going, and I thought it was like a lot of fun. It was a lark. I don't know. People started buying these pills off my thing.
No rough sounding voice or anything.
Nothing. I don't know. I started this thing. And then I would say ridiculous things like the frogs are gay, and people thought the frogs were gay. I said, let's keep it going. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at some point this kid must have realized that, like, he was stuck in this troll that he had created and that it had become bigger than him. But it's almost like Family Guy. Like, Patrice had a great observation, I want to say, on the Charlie Sheen roast, that Seth MacFarlane was jealous of his own creation. Like, all Seth MacFarlane wanted to do was be more famous than Family Guy. But he would never be more famous. Like, Seth MacFarlane will never be more popular than Seth MacFarlane's baby, which is Family Guy. Maybe this kid was like, I mean, I'd like to go on and do other things with my life, but everybody thinks that I think birds aren't real. Like, it's gotten too big.
Funny as it is.
Yeah.
It's a hilarious, take to, be committed to for years. It has to be pretty at some point.
Like, even if he goes into a job interview for like a Square job, and they're like, well, we were looking you up, so you don't think birds are real? And like, it's like when you're in a job interview that's off camera, do you admit that it was fabricated, or do you go, yeah, I just keep doing the bit, like reluctantly go, yeah, the government murdered all the birds between 1959 and 2001, and I did a TikTok about it. I'm sure you've seen it.
I think that's how I would go.
Like, there's surveillance creatures. All of the birds are. Well, what brought you to? There's a whole website with a history. There's a video.
Just look it up.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 5 years. It's a lot. It's a lot. I was on the news.
I gotta explain it to all my Tinder dates.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Do you really not think the birds are real? Look, it's a bat. Are bats real? I don't know. I don't know if bats are real. I don't know. Hey, you want to meet my pet dog?
Birds?
You think my pet dog is really a robot? I don't know. I don't.
Just his friends making the jokes over and over during dinner. And you're like, okay, I'm going to just fucking drop this.
Oh, can you imagine going home for Christmas and like the cousins come over, the uncles, the aunts, and the mom and dad go, oh, Benny, whatever the guy's name is, Benny, tell him about the internet thing you're doing with the birds. I don't. I started a movement called Birds Aren't Real. What do you mean birds aren't real?
It's like a parody conspiracy.
They were genocided in the. I mean, I don't. And you really believe this? I don't want to say. I don't want to talk about it. Can we just? No, it's a big deal. If birds aren't real, you should let me know. I don't know.
I mean, you must be like a wrestler walking down the street and someone's like, well, it's not real, is it?
No, it's more like a wrestler. It's more like if John Cena was walking down the street and someone yelled, hey, fuck Randy Orton, right, John? And he's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I gotta commit to this. Sure.
He's a villain. Yeah. It's like the Undertaker at an airport and somebody goes like, I'm really sorry to hear about your folks. And he's like, what happened to my folks? No, your brother burning them alive? Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Crazy. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. No, I'm so, yeah, cool. I'm sure that's happened to wrestlers in like interviews. Like like the morning news interviews that they have to do are not sure like what is a character and what's not. So they just have these notes that were printed for them. And they go like,
tell me, I heard your parents died.
So Kane, is that you burned your parents alive and then bragged about it to your brother? Is that true? And
wearing character.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm actually running for office. That's why I'm here. My name is Glenn. I don't know. It says here you used to speak with a voice box. Is that right? No. Yeah. Okay. Can I go?
Kofi, so you dropped your Jamaican accent. What was going on there?
Yeah. West Ghana. I had heard you were from the beaches of Jamaica, man. Yeah. No, I was at one point. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. But I mean, it's so weird to me that no matter how long the internet goes, it hasn't. You would think that it would make people less gullible. Like you would think, like the fact that just memes and trolling have been around for so long, and are just so, the consistency of them, the amount of them is just so tremendous that you would think at this point that people would just kind of know when they see something what it is. But like yesterday, this was everywhere. The top 10 male singers of all time. Number 1 is Elvis Presley. Number 2, Michael Jackson. Number 3, Jesse McCartney. Wait, what? Jesse McCartney? Okay. I mean, I don't remember. I'm from the 2000s. Yeah, Jesse McCartney.
The first two were debatable.
Jesse McCartney. Number 4, Frank Sinatra. Number 5, Otis Redding. Number 6, Adam Lambert. I mean, he was good. You mean the guy that is touring with Queen now? I mean, he was on like one of those reality shows. I mean, I guess he was good. Number 7, Ryan Cabrera. Number 7 is Ryan Cabrera. Number 8 is Stevie Wonder. Ryan Cabrera outranked Stevie Wonder. And guess
some hits we're not aware of?
Yeah, did I not hear every song? And nobody goes, what publication put this out? It just says rankings generated by data obtained from the ULL. And as if, like, you know how I said you need a mallet that says I'm joking on it sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's at the bottom of this graphic, Hot Dog? I don't know if you can see it.
No, I can't see it.
It's a stool that you might find at a bar with stars around it in a circle.
Like a bar stool.
This list, and you know where this list originated? The Barstool Sports Twitter account. It's a list from Barstool, and all I was reading was people going on the internet outraged at the inaccuracies of the list. And I'm like, what are we doing?
It's a great list in that it doesn't make it immediately
because you get Michael,
joke.
Because some of it's real, but then you just throw Ryan Cabrera and Jesse McCartney on there, and you're like, what?
Okay, well, this is like, I guess, a personal preference. I mean,
But it's like so clearly designed to upset people. Like it's just created. It's like those like maps, and it's always Barstool. It's always Barstool. Like those maps that come out, and it's like the top fast food chains by state.
Oh, yeah.
And every single time you have a bunch of idiots going, we don't even have Chick-fil-A here. And you're like, it's not. It's just made, like you could, it's Sbarro's is like the New York #1 fast food chain. And you're like, that's not a thing.
You disagree?
I mean, look, it is my favorite New York slice. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
But it's like, what do we, it takes 1 second. 1 second. It's not even hidden. It's hidden in plain sight. Why would you assume that something like this is so absurd it can't be real? I know. Yeah, you nailed it. It's not.
Sam, you have the eyes. You're looking at this with the eyes of a professional broadcaster. You're not looking at it, as a regular civilian.
But I don't understand. Like, why? It's Twitter more than any other form of social media. It's Twitter and Facebook, but really Twitter. There's something about Twitter that it just drives people's stress meters up to like almost the tippy top, like just turning it on. For some reason, the stress just starts to build in you. And then you start scrolling. And so this thing that you see that under normal circumstances, you'd be able to take one look at and go, oh, haha, it's a parody. You're too stressed out because you're on Twitter and you just start angry typing and send and angry typing and send. And then 5 minutes later, you look at what you just sent and you go, oh, why'd I send that? This is so stupid.
Because we're not being told that it's a parody. I mean, there needs to be a warning on these things.
I mean, wouldn't that take the humor value away from it?
Like, just maybe at the end, like, just kidding.
I mean, it's literally the exact same thing as if you went, like, back in the Disney into, like, a Sam Goody. and you bought a Weird Al Yankovic CD, and you put on Amish Paradise, and you're like, this is bullshit. It sounds exactly like Gangsta's Paradise. This is horse shit. What the fuck is
You
this?
just stole this.
You just clearly stole this. Who cares about Amish people? You're like, I know. Relax. This is just a sped up polka version of an already very popular song.
You don't think someone's dad did that when he heard those songs?
Like when Fat came on,
Yeah.
and they were like, this is a ripoff of the song Bad.
Absolutely happened.
That probably did happen. You're probably right. Smells Like Nirvana? It says Nirvana in the title. It says exactly like Smells Like Teen Spirit. The fuck is this?
Didn't even try bothering changing the title too much.
It's ridiculous. This is absurd. This can't be real. You're right. Like, nobody considers that when they go like this. You cannot be serious. Nobody ever assumes you're 100% right about that. Like, he's not serious. It's not a serious thing.
But again, to be fair, how many times do you see something on Twitter and you question, is this a joke? Absolutely not a joke or a parody.
Well, okay. All right. There are moments. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. You do got to do a little digging. And that's the thing. Twitter is like an instant gratification machine. So nobody likes to do the digging to find out. Because there are some things that like you go and you laugh at. And then people are like, the fuck you laughing at, dude? And it's like, oh, geez, that's real. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and delete that. No edit button, huh? Delete. Oh, too late for the delete, huh? Screen grabs already came in. Well, God damn it.
This you?
Yeah. Oh, this you tweets are the best. Just people with an archive. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But I mean, it does go to like the bigger picture problem of the fact that people take Twitter so goddamn seriously. Like so seriously. There's just such a tight grip on it. You said it's on Twitter. You're like, relax. It doesn't matter. What if it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. It's just going to get cycled through the Twitter sphere in 6 hours anyway. What if it doesn't matter? What if you don't need to opine on it and it doesn't matter? You don't need to get upset.
Yeah, but all those non-picture having avatars are gonna get mad at me, and then I'm gonna read it. It's gonna hurt my feelings.
You mean that one guy with all the accounts?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck him up. Log out, log in. Log out, log in. Log out, log in. Oh, he's not gonna. Oh, he was joking. Oh my God, I sent a lot of tweets.
I said fuck you to him. God damn it.
I used every burner. Oh, jeez. I didn't look. It's a Barstool thing. I love Barstool. Whoops. It's just so crazy. But really, like you look at the comments on this Vice piece about the bird guy. Oh, I meant to, yeah. And yeah, the bird man flying any weather. That's what it says. Man, he stays flying any weather, huh? And like, I mean, some of it is like bravo to this young artist, and it's like, okay. I'm glad I found this. He always stayed in character so well, I wasn't sure if he was straight up nutter. You weren't? Maybe you're the one who's nuts. Things are so unreal these days that until he admitted it, I was seriously going back and forth in my mind about whether this was a troll or a crazy person. Thank God you cleared that up for me. By the way, if you publicly announce that you were going back and forth, like, I wasn't sure, you thought it was real for sure. Like you're trying to give yourself a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But when after these things happen, when you're like, oh, I'm glad he put this out because I wasn't sure. You weren't not sure. You were sure that it was real. That's the way that works.
He was on the fence.
No, they weren't on the fence. They weren't on the fence. They were like, and they've told their friends, look at this guy, man. He's crazy. He thinks birds aren't real. And you know what they're going to do next? Yeah, it's a parody. You didn't know that?
God, it's the most embarrassing things is when you send something to a group chat or someone and then you find out it's fake or whatever, and you look like such an idiot.
I feel like you've done that.
Everything you'll ever send is just put into question.
And yeah, and it's like you can't send anything. You can't ever send anything again. Because it's like, are you hot dogging us again? No, guys, this one's real, I swear. I feel like you've done that with me and Travis. Either sent something fake or sent something crazy late. And it's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, like years later, something like that.
Yeah.
I remember I once sent like a Bill Burr clip from like 2017 to you guys' show prep.
You're like, I don't know if you heard. He insulted all of Philadelphia. Like, okay, thanks, buddy. Thanks. Super chat in, by the way, if you want to contribute to the show, we'll definitely get to all the super chats, but if you want to be acknowledged, if you want me to acknowledge you, that's the best way to do it. Super chat in, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Like I was saying at the top of the show, on Friday night, I spent an hour and 40 minutes. I had no idea it would take that long because it's only 4 movies. Like, I've done sets of 10 movies in less time, I feel like. But it was an hour and 40 minutes. That's how good they are to break down all 4 Scream movies. I would recommend, before you see Scream this weekend, and I hope you're going to see it this weekend, not sponsored, I just love Scream so much, especially after watching all of them, that you watch all 4 movies and you watch the breakdown that we did on Sam Roberts Now. If you don't have time to watch all 4 movies, you could just watch the breakdown. It's just, they're all going to be spoiled. But if you're not going to watch them anyway, watch the breakdown before you see Scream 5. Are you a Scream fan, Hot Dog?
I've only seen the first. I've never seen 2, 3, or 4. Because I always get the, it's always like the stigma of a horror sequel that it's going to be crappy. So I just never even bothered.
Look, as I said on the show, Scream 1, I've realized, like, throughout this process, is literally a perfect movie. It's perfect. Like, I think it's on my top 10 movies ever made list. It's perfect. It's great. It's awesome. Scream 2 is fantastic. Scream 3 is messy. Scream 4, I think they do enough to go back and start to clean it up. But Scream 5, that they're just calling Scream, is supposed to be tremendous. And they just dropped the final trailer today. It comes out technically tomorrow night, Thursday night, but, over the weekend. I'm going to do my damnedest to see this Scream movie. I think this is going to be my return to movie theaters. I'm going to do my
you haven't done it yet?
I have not been. I haven't been. I wanted to see Licorice Pizza. I didn't get around to it. When there's COVID in the air and your kids are at home and it's just, it's hard to find an excuse. But Scream feels like an excuse to me. And this trailer dropped at Hot Dog. My God. To say I am a full 3 inches would be an understatement. I am so excited. Rock hard for this Scream movie. That's average, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Should we watch the trailer together?
Let's do it.
Okay, this is the final trailer. It was dropped today. And everybody's speculating about this. The filmmakers who are making Scream 5 are the same ones that did Ready or Not. Did you see Ready or Not or no?
No.
It's fantastic. It's so good. Ready or Not is great. You will love it, Hot Dog.
Is that a horror movie as well?
It's a horror movie, but it's a fun one. It's great. You'd very much enjoy it. And so expectations are high for this one. And there's a lot of lore in Scream. It's all about the lore. That's why it took so long to break down all 4 movies. Because even as they get a little bit messy, they do an excellent job of maintaining a lore throughout the 4 movies. There's not a lot that you have to ignore or forgive. Like, there's not, like, in all the other franchises, you're like, yeah, you kind of got to ignore 3 and just go straight to 6. Like stuff like that doesn't.
Yeah, just jump around.
Right.
Forget that he was in space.
Don't worry about that because that was the future, but we're going back to the past, but not that far back. And when he gets him in space, no, none of that stuff is in. Technically, for Jason X to exist, Freddy versus Jason cannot exist, and Freddy versus Jason came out after Jason X, so there's no way of tracing it. But that's regardless. Let's watch this trailer that just dropped because it's leading to a lot of speculation from people. Whoa! Dewey's back.
There's certain rules to
I know.
surviving.
Rules to surviving.
Believe me, I know.
Oh boy. See, I already love that Dewey's like washed up. Like Dewey is not like a fun, 22-year-old David Arquette or whatever. He was probably 30 in the first one, whatever he was. But he's like an old, like he's been through it. And you realize, like, he should be that way. Even though it's been 25 years, it's a pretty long run. He's been through 4 sets of mass murders, not to mention the Maureen Prescott murder that started it all. As an officer of the law, he has been through 4 murders, murdered like serial killers. And also, not only does he have to solve them, but they're also after him every single time. So he's stressed.
They always come back.
They always come back.
The killer is a part of something in the past.
Okay.
This one just feels different.
You're all in danger.
Mom? Where? Sydney.
So they're going over the new kids, right? And he's saying Sydney, but I think that this is key. I think that it's key. He says, this one feels different. It's always somebody from the past. I think that there's no way that in this one, like in 4, it was a new character. In 3, it was a new character. In Scream 2, 3, and 4, the killer was a character that was introduced in that movie. I think when you're looking at Scream 5, there is no way that the killer is not either directly related to or an actual character from the first movie. It has to be.
I've seen this movie before.
Okay.
Not this movie.
Although, it says the perfect movie villain. Now, we don't know. Again, we talked about this on Friday, but Ghostface himself, unlike Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Ghostface as a symbol is throughout all 5 Scream movies, but it's a different person behind the mask every time. So when this person says the perfect movie villain, that would have to be specifically for this film because all the other ones got killed at the end of each of those movies. Something to keep in mind, as we noticed on the poster, and I just saw her face real quick. Deputy Judy from Scream 4 is back in this movie in Scream 5. So theoretically, somebody from the past, you wouldn't have to go all the way back. You could just go to Scream 4 and Deputy Judy.
You said we were going to finish this. Go finish it.
Mind-blowing twist. It said mind-blowing twist, hot dog. The thing said mind-blowing twist. Okay? And if they're not only somebody wrote that in a review, but now they're using that review as the tag thing, I mean,
I'll go back. I'll go back to that review and be like, you know what? That wasn't so mind blowing.
yeah, you probably tweet him. Just, who was that review? Like you'll go through the trailer, find it. I don't know.
Kevin F.
Yeah, at Kevin F. Surprised, not mind blown. Masterful horror. Okay. By the way, this is key. Okay. This is in the garage, getting a beer or some kind of beverage out of the fridge in the garage. Come on, guys. Scream 1, Rose McGowan's character of Tatum. She goes to the garage to get a beer. What happens to her? Hot dog, do you remember what happens to her in that first Scream movie?
I don't remember, actually.
She gets her neck broke in the garage door.
God, yeah, okay, I remember that.
You remember that now. Ghostface gets her.
It's pretty goddamn good.
Scream.
I'll be right back.
He's dead.
Only in theater and special.
Okay, now look, this is also key. Let me go back for a second to just the visual here. Okay. It's kind of tough to tell, but that couch and window setup look very similar to Stu's house in the first one. Hot dog, you remember where they have the party. That's at Stu's house.
Yeah.
It looks just very similar the way they have it set up. Maybe they're at Stu's house. And the way he's saying, I'll be right back. The kitchen door is at the same angle, I think, as it was when Stu was there. See, that looks like Stu's house where he is. Now, it could just be a throwback. And the fact that she goes to the garage, we know that they could be in Stu's house. That's all I'm saying. And if they are in Stu's house, that's very, very exciting to me. Very, very exciting to me. Stu's house is a very important element of the whole franchise. I mean, it's where the key moments, it's where the whole Act 3 of Scream 1 happens. Now,
How pumped are you?
Oh my
to
God.
watch this weekend.
Oh my fucking God, dude.
Yes, I love when you get to the point where you're just like pausing out trailers and just looking at, okay, that's the thing right there from this movie, and this is gonna happen and all that stuff.
I mean, you know me, I don't pretend to care about things. I just won't care about it. Like all the X-Men movies, Iron Man, X-Men, Magneto, Spider-Man, I don't care. Like, I'll watch that Spider-Man movie. They're like, there's going to be 3. Like, when that trailer came out, and it was like, look at all the stuff you can find in this Spider-Man trailer. I was like, what a fucking dork. Except when this trailer came out, I was like, I think that's Stu's house. Listen to what Dewey's saying. Like, there's all these symbols and all these keys in here. Now, look. There's a theory floating around, Hot Dog.
Mm-hmm.
Something you may not know, and I watched this on a YouTube video. I like YouTube videos. I like making them. I like watching them. Stu, there was a theory at one point. Number one, my buddy tweeted me a screen grab of a person who looks like Stu popping around in Scream 2. There's one scene in Scream 2 where it looks like Stu with his hair bleached, looks different, but it really looks like him, is in the background of a shot. And I'm like, what the fuck? You remember, Hot Dog, in Scream 1, Stu died not by getting shot, but by the TV getting thrown on his head. Remember that?
Which one was that one? That was
So Scream 1, the 2 killers were Stu and Billy Loomis.
Yeah.
Stu was the kind of nutso one, played by Matthew Lillard. My mom's gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah.
Right. So when he dies, like, Billy Loomis gets shot in the center of his head. He's definitely dead. Dead, for sure. We saw the bullet go in. We see the hole. It's bad. Stu gets taken out by having a TV thrown on his head and kind of just stops moving, and that's it. So there's this theory that what if Stu didn't die there? Now, apparently, when Scream 3 came out, there were a ton of script changes, right? Because, like, Columbine happened, and it was just a mess. They had to change the whole movie, and that's why Scream 3 is a little messy. That's why there's only one killer in Scream 3, unlike any of the other movies. It doesn't make sense. Like, the whole point is that there's 2 killers. That's why it seems like the killer's everywhere. When you really watch Scream 3, it's like that is one fast motherfucker to get in all those places. So, apparently there was a script for Scream 3 that had, I think it was either Scream 2 or Scream 3. It was one of the Scream that had Stu in jail, but on the phone being the brains behind the operation. So, of course, like, Stu's going to get caught, but they're saying he didn't die. However, you also, if Stu didn't die, and he was, like, you couldn't do that now. You couldn't just be like, oh, we didn't tell you? No, Stu's been in jail for 25 years since Scream 1. And I'm like, and you didn't mention it in Scream 2, 3, or 4. No, we didn't mention it. Like, that's horse shit. Like, you can't do that. Like, you can't just make up. No, he was in jail the whole time. Okay, well, why didn't you tell me that before? Oh, I don't know. It didn't come up. Okay. All right, cool. Way to have a twist. So unless Stu faked his own death and somehow, like, went into hiding, but wouldn't they know that the body was missing? It'd be tough for Stu. Monaku sent in, or Munku sent in a super chat. He said it's Randy. Randy was, of course, played by Jamie Kennedy. Randy was the film geek in Scream 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You remember they're bringing back Randy. He faked his death and now wants revenge on Sydney for cucking him all those years ago. I mean, look, if anybody has motivation, it would be Randy. Like, he's like you and Angie at Sirius. He literally spent the whole first 2 movies clearly being in love with Sydney, and then his character ends up getting killed, and he never even touches the girl. She never looks at him like any kind of sexual object.
You just say that's similar to my story.
I mean, that's besides the point. But what I am saying is, if somebody was hunting down Angie, you would be the first person I would suspect.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. You'd be like, do you like scary movies? Do you like to eat pizza when you watch them? Wait, eat what? What? Never mind.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, bye.
Yeah. You're not even using a voice changer. You're just trying to do a voice. Yeah, however, Randy was found, like his body was recovered. And I mean, he was just stabbed so many times and just covered in blood. It would be he had a really gory death. So it'd be real tough to have him be alive. And also, why in Scream 3 and Scream 4 would we not have, like in Scream 3, his sister came to the police station to deliver a videotape that had Randy on it explaining the rules of the trilogy that he made in case he died. I mean, Scream 3 has a lot of far-fetched moments, but wouldn't is his sister in on it? Oh, shit. Hot dog. It's fucking Randy's sister.
Oh, did you just come into that?
Oh,
right
my
now?
God. It's definitely Randy's sister. We meet Randy's sister in Scream 3. So she's established, like, she's not just going to pop up in Scream 5 and be like, oh, Randy had a sister. In Scream 3, right, because Randy's role in Scream 1, he's the guy who explains the rules of horror movies, but don't say, I'll be right back, blah, blah, blah. Scream 2, he says, no, the rules are different. It's a sequel now. Then Randy gets killed. Then in Scream 3, Randy's sister shows up and gives Sidney and the guys a videotape that Randy made while Scream 2 was theoretically happening. And it was explaining the rules of the trilogy in case he got killed during this sequel in real life to him, canon sequel, but actually sequel movie. So she's established as a character. She's like, here's the tape. They're like, we all know who you are. We all know you're Randy's sister. Holy shit, Randy's sister is definitely one of the killers.
Spoiler alert.
Yep, it's Randy's sister. It's Randy's sister, and I don't know who's with her. It could be because it could be like somebody from the past and then somebody new. But yeah, because like theoretically, right? Officer Judy, Deputy Judy, whatever, she's a red herring. She's there to be a red herring. It could be Sidney's dad, but he'd have to be like 78 years old now. That'd be a tough sell.
Gingerly walking.
Yeah, because I don't think he was ever expressly killed. But we also haven't seen him since Scream 1, and he'd be so old. Like, what are you doing?
Did you let this guy kill you?
Yeah, and the same thing, like it could be Billy Loomis's dad, since Sidney killed Billy Loomis and Billy Loomis's mom. But Billy Loomis's dad would also be so old at this point, it'd be tough. So Billy Loomis would have to have a sibling that we never knew about, which again feels like a cop-out.
You're saying it's Randy's sister and a new character.
I think
That's what you're going with.
Yeah, because in Scream 4, the killer is Kieran Culkin and Sidney's cousin Jill. But Jill kills Rory Culkin. He's the long-haired Culkin. But yeah, Charlie is his name. But he gets killed by Jill. And then Sidney theoretically kills Jill, but might not have killed Jill. I mean, it could be Jill and Randy's sister, but probably not. Because again, like, you would know if the body went missing. You would know if this person, like, they're there with the body. They killed it. And then the cops come. They would find out if the body was gone. Unless there's some super creative thing. So, I feel like the only ones that are left then are Randy's sister, and then, of course, Sidney herself, but Sidney's getting chased. Dewey, Deputy Dewey, David Arquette, and Gale Weathers, Courtney Cox. Like, Sidney, Deputy Dewey, and Gale Weathers are all back. So, obviously, it could be one of them, but I doubt it's Gale Weathers at this point. And I doubt it's Sidney herself, especially if she's getting chased. Now, if she doesn't get chased, if in the movie you don't see Sidney getting chased by herself, then I guess it's her, but I don't think it's her. I think it's Randy's sister. That's what I think.
Well, your prediction has been put in. We'll see when it comes out this weekend.
Yeah. And I think Munku is right. I think it's Randy's sister because she knows her brother was getting cucked. Because she dated right in front of Randy's face. Nev Campbell or Sidney fucked Billy Loomis. And Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich. Like, this is a handsome guy. And he's a bad boy. So it's like, I mean, hot dog. Can you compete with a super handsome bad boy who looks like he rides a motorcycle?
Depends. Are they like totally into cool personalities and stuff? Because I'm your guy.
That's not a thing. He looks like a young Johnny Depp, for God's sake. So, like, Randy has to deal with that. And then Billy Loomis dies, right? She kills Billy Loomis. So Randy's like, okay, she killed her boyfriend, and we went through this intimate experience together. Now I have a shot. The next time we see her, she's literally dating handsome college jock Jerry O'Connell. Dude, you're not beating 1998 Jerry O'Connell.
No, I'm not.
You know, maybe Stand By Me Jerry O'Connell when he was chubby, but he was 12. And if Sydney dated 12-year-old Jerry O'Connell, that would be way darker. Way darker than I'm prepared for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so of course his sister's mad because Sydney would date all these hunks right in front of Randy's face. Randy got hacked up because, why did Randy get hacked up? Because he was trying to save Sydney. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be mad too. If
Randy's
that happened to
sister,
my brother.
Randy's sister is mad because Randy was trying to save Sydney, even though she didn't love him the way Randy loved her. Sydney got Randy killed. Randy's sister's pissed. Randy's sister is going to chop up Sydney.
Understandable.
I mean, this checks out, bro. Now, this would be technically the only murder not directly linked to Sydney's mom. Just the most toxic person ever. Because the original, right, it's like the first, I mean, we went over this already. We went over this on Friday. But yeah, Randy's sister. Man, that's my prediction. Randy's sister.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that now. Well, okay, so I should watch 2, 3, 4 before I watch 5. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Watch 2, 3, or at least watch my recap.
'Cause it sounds, the way you explained the lore and all that stuff.
There's great lore. There's great lore. But, you know, I mean, if you just want the lore, you could just go back on the YouTube channel and watch the show. I watch the shows. Let's go to the Super Chats. If you want to contribute to tonight's show, if you want to get your comment acknowledged from the chat, then go ahead. For instance, Robert Burton, not a Super Chat, but still an interesting theory. Jim Norton is the killer, and he creates these other personalities to escape his self-loathing and guilt. Okay, that feels like it's a pretty probable option as well. A little too close to home, though. A little too true. That would be funny, though. Randy's sister shows the shrine he made of Sidney Prescott. Yeah, totally. Totally. We find out Randy was way more of a creep. He has a Sidney Prescott shrine and everything. Of course. We figured it out, hot dog. We got to the bottom of it way quicker than Deputy Dewey. Oh, I love it. Now, one person says it's Dewey and Randy's sister. They know all the rules. It could be Dewey is probably not putting the ghost face hood on because he's not in good shape. He's got a limp. He's been through battles. His body has got to be beaten to shit. However, he could be the one planning the whole thing with Randy's sister. I wouldn't put that past him. Plus, he's David Arquette. David Arquette is a lunatic, you know?
And fit in real life.
Here is Ariel. Let's go to these Super Chats. Again, Super Chat in, and we will acknowledge you. Here is Ariel. This is my only donation today. I'm going broke. I'm sorry to hear that, Ariel. My GTA is fixed. Did you look into Drunken Peasants yet? Much love, everyone. 2022 is the year we rule. 2022 is the year we rule. I mean, we've already amped Sam Roberts Now up to twice a week, a schedule that, hot dog, you cannot keep up with, but I can. You've already missed. You've missed 2 shows this year.
Correct.
There's only been 4, and that's if you count New Year's Lonely Eve.
But if you look at the stats a couple months down from the line, it's going to be so irrelevant that I missed those first 2.
Now, are you going to mumble like that on every show?
Huh?
Are you going to mumble like that on every show?
I'm not mumbling.
Oh, you give me so.
No, I mean I'll be batting .9578.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Not Sam's Grim Reaper. We missed you, hot dog. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Oh, look at this. Hot dog greater than Nard Dog. Wow.
I appreciate that.
That's big.
I hated Nard Dog.
You didn't like Nard Dog?
No.
Well, they fucked him good. The writers really fucked him good. They were like, okay, you want to have fun on The Hangover, huh, Ed Helms? You want to have a good time with that? Well, guess what? You're going to be a total piece of shit on this show. It's not going to make any sense how awful you are.
No redemption.
No, he sucked as a person. He punched the hole right through that wall, though, didn't he?
Yeah, a couple times.
He got mad. JD Straight Shot. Hi, guys. First time, long time. I'm not sure. Did Larissa from 90 Day have her belly button deleted? Maybe. Her Instagram is crazy. R.I.P. Kevin Pollak, POG. Maybe the killer is Kevin Pollak. I'll tell you, if Ghostface sounds like Christopher Walken, then we'll know it's Kevin Pollak for sure. The Bobby Hall. My bipolar wife is finally pregnant. Congratulations. A half bipolar baby is on the way. Also, my already existing child just asked about the guy who made stupid faces. Realized he meant annoying eater. Well, that's not that cool, but yeah, I guess some of the faces I made were stupid, but they were honest. That's the key.
It wasn't pretty.
And Ariel says Ed Helms is hung. I was talking about the Andy Bernard character, but good for Ed Helms, I guess, right? Good for Ed Helms. All right, guys. Ed Helms is hung, or was that John Holmes? No, it was Ed Helms. I think you had it right the first time. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget, subscribe. Hit like on this video, because I see some of you have not. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn your alerts on. We are scheduled to drop a new episode of Sopranos Prima Volta tomorrow as we start to wind down season 3 of The Sopranos. And then on Friday, we're scheduled to have another Sam Roberts Now coming at you live at 6 p.m. Eastern. So be here for it. We will see you then. Go back and watch the screen breakdown before you see it this weekend. Have a good one, everybody. And I'm going to cheers with you later.